creators. So what was the experience like here for this kind of project?
Well, I think there's two aspects. There's from the agency side and then from the client side. So I can speak from the agency side. The big shift that we had to change in our thinking was we don't control the creative, and you've heard that this morning. I mean, everyone said the same, you know, sort of consistent with, we know how to talk about what we need to talk about with really as it relates to your brand. And so for us, our inclination is we control the creative, we control the scripting, we produce the big ads. And so what we had to quickly discover is not in this space. In this space, they are the authentic voice. We provide guardrails maybe about what sort of they can and may not be able to say because of the political and government consequences. But at the end of the day, we had to kind of give that creative control over, which was a big shift as an agency.
We were really lucky. The texting issue happened to be the Secretary of Transportation's most important issue, which is strange for us because secretaries usually don't pick a behavior issue. But Secretary LaHood loved this issue, and so he was very supportive when we talked to him about the need to do something different, because you know his attitude was, let's throw some ads on TV, let's put some stuff on radio, and be done with it. And we went back to him and said, no, you really want to have this sense of engagement. I was very fortunate that he had people working for him that understood that whole concept of engagement. And so working it through my political system was much easier than I expected it to be, because I had touch points along the way that understood what we were trying to do. And now when I see this ex-secretary, he left a few years ago, he's ecstatic still about what we did with Rhett and Link and how that still has a life.
Excellent.
We're trying to figure out how to work them eating squid and texting at the same time.
So this was last April that this video came out. Then you came to VidCon last year. And so, you know, what were your big takeaways from that experience being here last year?
Well, listen, it's when the whole idea of handing over to the creators the message that you want and letting them take over, that's when it really all kind of gelled for us last year here when it was our first visit, because you actually get a chance to interact with them. So when you talk to the creators, when you go out to the community, and you're in that sort of mix, is when you get a feel for just how powerful that voice is. And I think this morning, this panel was great. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better, really. I just encourage all of you to get out there and meet them. Meet the creators, meet the community, and see how powerful that connection is. Really, for me, that was the biggest thing that happened last year, was seeing the power of that.
Was there like were there any like specific instances that you remember?
Oh, there was a bunch.
Yeah.
But I know that from actually this panel last year, walked out the doors as this was ending, and we were walking out, the group I was with, including my media director, and we were walking out to the escalators just to go down that big long escalator, and suddenly I see this kid with blue hair kind of running up the escalators, and I thought, oh, that's kind of weird. I looked over at him. Within seconds, there was what looked like 50,000 screaming girls running up the escalator behind him. The guy bumped right into me because, you know, he was running away, and he actually stopped and said, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I thought, whoa, what's going on here? He kept going. We obviously were in the way of everyone chasing after him. And I thought, wow, this is crazy, like the Beatle kind of moment, right? And later on that day, I ran into that kid at a backstage event, and he said, oh, hey, I'm really sorry I ran into you. My name is, and you know, he had this very natural conversation, and I realized this guy has influence with all these people that he's talking to. But he's just a really very down-to-earth and grounded person. And so I realized these are the vehicles, really the best ways for us to communicate and engage with our audiences.
Yeah.
And by the way, our media director, as soon as that happened, jumped on the phone, called back to the office to all of our TV buyers and said, the future is now. You guys need to get out here and look at this. This is crazy. It's changing.
It's a very visceral week, I feel like, for these things. So this video was not a one-off. You guys did another video with the Fine Brothers that was watched 7 million times. How has this shifted your strategy and thinking ongoingly?
Well, we don't want these to be just a one-off. So the way we have started looking at our media budget is we are pulling money right off the top to make sure that we have some resources available to continue to work with the creators. nothing I do is as powerful as what the creators can do in reaching their audience. So I can spend a lot of money on television and things, but there is something about that relationship that the creator has with the people who follow them that is remarkable. So we will continue to look for opportunities to work with the creators to find other places where we might be able to put our message and other things they might be able to help us on delivering out to a broader population. So we are definitely here to stay.
And speaking of broader population, I mean, Sue doesn't like to brag, but really the Department of Transportation and her office in particular has done some landmark work throughout the federal government. Nobody's done this kind of work. In fact, just recently we did a seatbelt campaign to reach bilingual, bicultural Latinos in the United States, an exploding demographic that everyone's trying to figure out how to communicate with. We found a great creator, Daniel Fernandez, and we created a piece that resonated and had millions of views immediately in the first week. But again, I go back to the engagement. We watched the views go up and we're like, oh, that's fantastic. But the way people were sharing it in both languages and across culture, it was unbelievable. And the message was, click it or take it. I mean, it's not really, seatbelts, but these creators have a way of communicating that and making it go out into and change behavior.
Yeah, so for this crowd, as you're thinking about the way you're going to use YouTube in the future, what is one thing that everybody who's working with a brand in this room should be thinking about in their brand strategy?
Go ahead.
I think there's two things. One is that balance, finding that balance, because what has changed for us has been working with creators is great, but also as a brand, I think that the community is looking to also see your content out there as a brand. So not just working with creators. So we're looking at blending those two things together, and the creators are opening that avenue for us because they're putting that brand out there. NHTSA and the Department of Transportation, yeah, that's a brand, and we're going to take it out there, and we're going to create our own content that complements what the creators are doing with us.
I think the other thing that I would say is it's really important to really look at YouTube as it's almost like another network. It's another avenue. It's an NBC and ABC, CBS, it's all, but it's YouTube and it's here today and it's where we're going in the future. And so if you're working with your media strategists and you see a really traditional plan that continues to do television, print, radio, outdoor, you need to ask the question, where's YouTube in all of this? Because that's going to get you a different population that many of the brands in this room really want to talk to.
Excellent. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.